friends, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Toni and I am a homeschool mom of 4 little kiddos, and I like to share things about the homeschool curriculum that we've used and what's worked for us and what hasn't, and sometimes some thrift store hauls and good deals that we found, and it's just fun to share with you guys and see if it'll help you out. So today I'm going to be sharing 2 different reading curriculum that have worked really well for my kids. One of them is called the reading lesson. Now this is in really bad shape, this book, but my other choice, we've used this and loved it, was this one that doesn't have a front or a back. So I figured this is the best I had out of my choices. We've loved this. So this is a great one to look into, called the reading lesson. It's called the subtitle is Teach Your Child to Read in 20 Easy Lessons. The 20 lessons aren't actually like, it's not 20 days. They're big lessons that are broken down. So I'm going to give you a little look through of this, but I loved this book. It is so easy. It's so, it's teacher involved, but it's all written out so that it is clear. The parent knows exactly what to say. It's so good. It's so easy to teach your kid to read with this. That was one of my biggest fears when I first started homeschooling. I was even a teacher before in a Christian school, but I taught 1st and 2nd graders, so they came to me already really knowing the basics. They knew kind of how to read, and I was teaching beyond that. And so then when I had my own kids, I thought, how in the world am I going to teach these kids how to read from scratch? Well, this was really, really helpful. So it's really good. I love it. I'll do a quick flip through in a minute when I turn the camera around. I'm going to show you the other one that we're going to talk about today too, which is from Christian Light Education. And this is called Learning to Read. They're both very good. This book is just this book. It's one book. There's nothing else involved. All the lessons are in here. You sit with your kid and you go through this, and that's all you need. So the Christian Light one has 2 teacher books because it's broken down with lessons 101 to 105 and then 106 to 110. I will show you a close-up of these 2 just so you can get a better idea, but I want you to see what comes with all of this. And then you order 10, these are called light units. So each light unit has 10 lessons. So each unit has 10 lessons, so your child works in one book, and then when they're done, they pull out another book. So there's 10 of these that are consumable, and you just order them with each kid. Then there's also these little books that are little readers. So there's one called We Live, We Explore, We Learn, and We Discover. And I'll give you a close-up of those 2. But so the one major difference of the 2 is this one is, just that one book that you're going to go through. All the stories are included in that one book. This one, you do have to buy a bunch, but it's so cheap. So really, they're both really cheap. I mean, I think I'd have to look it up. This is in the $20 range. I actually found one of these, I think I probably ordered the first one for my oldest, brand new from the internet, from the website. Then I found one that was actually in great condition. It wasn't missing the covers at the time. But I found it at the thrift store for a couple dollars, which was like so exciting. So I had another one for my 2nd daughter, and then I ordered another one for my 3rd daughter. But these are like $3 a piece, maybe. The teacher books are, I don't know, I'd have to tell you exactly, but they're probably around $10. So you're not looking at much for all this, even though you get a lot with it. So, so I guess it just depends on, do you want more of a workbook style, or do you want more of just an oral reading type of setup for teaching your child to read? They're both really good. We're going to flip the camera around, and I will give you a sneak peek inside of each of them, and then you can compare and see which one you like better. So let's see. So here's a close-up of the reading lesson. Sorry about my cover there. So what I like to do, since this is such a cheap, affordable book, I let my kids color in it as they go. I'll show you. So it's got a breakdown in the front of the lessons and sounds that go in every lesson. So there's 20 lessons, and it goes over each of these letters and sounds on each page. So this page shows all the different alphabet sounds, and it tells you the different ways of saying each letter. So we've got A here that has 3 different sounds. Alligator, A for alligator, aw for ball, and A for acorn, and there's a little mark on top of each one. This is just an overview of what's going to be in the book. So it goes over each of these in every lesson. So here's lesson 1. This is my favorite part, because as the first time I ever taught any of my kids how to read, and kind of going into this feeling like I have no idea what I'm doing, this told you exactly what to do. It has a little, it tells you how to read it to your child. I mean, this is for the parent. So it says read C as the first sound in the word cat. Point to the letter and say, this is K as in cat. I mean, you couldn't get more clear than that. And so it tells you, you can do this exactly how it's written here. It tells you how to read the sound. Sorry, I'm doing this in our edition and it's windy. It says read ah as the first sound in the words octopus. Other words with the same sound are olive and ox. And so it tells you exactly, it'll put in quotes what you're supposed to say to your student. And I just love that. I think it's just super easy. It's just, that's what you want, right? When you're going to teach your child how to read, is you want something easy. The other thing that's important in this that they teach you is using your finger and how to slide across. So it shows a lot of times with the finger here, and it points to like the word cat. You point to each letter that's underlined and you slide across as you read it. So the whole, it's very important. You have your child, you can model it and you have your child point as they read, and it really helps them make sure they're reading the whole word and not skipping any letters or anything. So here's another example. I'm not going to go through every lesson, but just to show you, this is the basics for number 1. So you're going to say to your child this little paragraph, this is a letter. It has the name. It has a name and it has a sound. The name of this letter is C. And you see it has the words S-E-E. Hope you can see it there. Let me zoom in a little bit here. But see, it says, it even has it to where it tells you exactly how to say it. And its sound is K. And then you're going to say, this is a word. And then here, this is a sentence. The dot is called a period. We put it at the end of the sentence. It has no sound. It's just so easy and so clear, and I just love it. I think it's great. So each, they introduce the different sounds. You read exactly what it says underneath of the letter, and then when you get over here, you can do however you want. I would have my child go through, and every time she finds a letter, the letter C, she has to say the sound like K, and circle it. So every time she circles it, she's saying K, 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 and we do a different color for each one. It doesn't necessarily tell you to do that, but that's what we did. It says find and circle one at a time. You can do this however you want. It was always fun for them to be able to color it, and there's all kinds of different activities. This is all written in. I would let her highlight at the end just to show that we finished a page. Here we get to where you are filling in the letter that's missing. There's blanks. I hope that's easy to see. She loved being able, all my girls loved being able to fill in the picture or color in the picture after they read so this is their little story. So they read them separately. Let me go back here. So they're showing you, you're using your finger and sliding across as you read each word. Then they're going to fill in which letter's missing. And then when you come over here, it says, let's read these words. So these are little sentences here. So they're going to read these sentences, each one separately. Then they're going to come over here, and it's a story. And for however old you're going to teach your child to read, 4, 5, 6, however old you're teaching them, it's exciting to be able to say, I read a story today, and show daddy. That was what our girls always loved. So it just says, now let's read a story about a cat. They read it to you, and then I would always have them, let them color in the picture. So we won't go through the whole thing, but that's basically how it goes. As if the sentences get longer, obviously, as things go on. They're going to continue to teach new words and the different sounds that go with them. It's just really good. It's very clear. My girls are all really strong readers, and I feel like this was such a good beginning for them. So see the sentences, we're in lesson 4. We're in, the sentences are getting longer. They do not do capital letters yet because they're trying not to distract from just reading the words. And then we've got big stories for that age. And it just gets more and more. And then there's always going to be this teacher page that shows you exactly what you need to say to introduce the new letters. We'll just do a little flip, but it just keeps going, and they're reading more and more, and you'll be surprised how much they're reading this fast. I felt like they moved my daughter just moved on pretty fast. Now here's a difference. If you look how it starts in the beginning, pretty big words, and then by lesson 12 the words are getting smaller, the print is getting smaller on the page, and it continues on. See, now we've got whole stories, there's a letter, and the words, just your sentences are getting longer, you're doing more words in each page, and the print gets smaller. But look how much they're reading by the end of this book. There's lesson 19, here's lesson 20, and it's still not overwhelming. I feel like I've seen some curriculum that are supposed to be similar to this about teaching your child to read, and there's all these symbols and confusing things on the page, and this is so simple and so easy, and that's the end of it. So I think there's a certificate of completion that we never did. I should have done that you write their name. And anyway, it's a good curriculum. I would highly recommend this. I think it was really good. So that's the reading lesson. Now let's look in Christian Light Education's Learning to Read. So this is one of the teacher's guides. I'll show you the teacher's guide first. This is a Christian curriculum. This has a lot to it. This does not, I guess if you go back here, you can see, this doesn't just have reading. This has spelling, skill applications, sound review. There's self-checks. This has little tests in it. They do dot maps. That was one of my kids' favorite things. Lesson story blends, phrases and sentences, word lists, and time drills, visual discrimination, word drill, reading drill, blending fun. This is a lot. Penmanship, learning a sound, working with sounds, listening to a story. It does have a daily schedule, and if you are using other Christian Light Education books, one important thing to note is if you're going to use their language arts, which we also did, and I love their language arts, and I'll do a review on that sometime. But when you get to, if you order Learning to Read for first grade and you order the language for first grade, you actually don't start the language until lesson 47. So that's just, I always highlighted that because I always forgot to start it. Because sometimes you get used to this and you don't even need, I didn't need to use the teacher guide quite as much, except for just checking their stuff. So this tells you exactly what to say, just like the other one. What animal says moo? What animal says meow? Tell me something that makes a zzz sound. But it's got bold print to tell you exactly what you're going to read. This was a cool thing. As they're teaching new sounds, it'll tell you, say fish in a drawn out tone. And then it says, do you see what happened? My teeth, my lips, and my tongue moved. Now you say fish. Did your teeth, lips, and tongue move? We use our teeth, lips, and tongue to make the sounds that we say. A lot of the times in this curriculum, they will do that, where they'll tell you exactly how to move your lips and whether you're using your teeth for making a sound or different things like that. So that's really cool. This is really helpful. It just tells mom exactly what to do as you go through. Then they have a picture of the child's page on here. Sometimes they'll have, this is listening skills. So mom is going to read something and the child's going to do what mom says to do in the picture. I didn't always do all this stuff. It depends on your child and what they need. I didn't always do all the activities, all of the oral activities. I didn't always do all those. Sometimes we would just get right into the bookwork. But, so this is just the teacher guide. So I don't know if we need to flip through that whole thing, but it just gets, it's got everything you need. I would say it's important because you need to know, sometimes they did have strange pictures, I will say, that, like right here, let me hold this up real quick here. This one, see this picture? I wouldn't have known that was a killdeer. It's a bird. But so sometimes they will use pictures of animals or different things, and your child says, "What's that, Mom?" And I have to look it up because I have no idea what that is, or sometimes you'll think it's something else. It doesn't happen too often, but it did happen sometimes where I really didn't know what they were asking. Then they have a little story in here. So that's the teacher's guide. Okay, so like I showed you before, you're gonna have 10 of these light units. They're numbered on the side, 101 to 110. We're just gonna look through a couple of them real quick here. This one, now my child, I didn't have any blank ones, so there's writing in all these, but I thought it was important to show you guys anyway. So this starts out super easy with some pre-writing skills and crossing off different things. A lot of these you do need the teacher book sometimes so that you know what you're telling them to do. Like this, they don't have instructions on the page. You actually use your teacher guide to be able to tell them what to do. But you do a different sound. It's pretty easy to start. Star words, these are words that they're gonna, like sight words. They're gonna learn how to read them without sounding them out. And they continue to practice that. Sometimes there's usually a story when you introduce a new sound. So a lot of times I would have my kids color the picture in the front while they're listening to the story, like the fish. She didn't color the monkey for some reason. But so this is book 1. So that's the part that it starts out with. It's pretty easy. But I like that it's got handwriting too. See, we're getting to more star words, and I would actually star the word as she says it. These are the dot maps that they were talking about, and my girls all loved those. So you look at this, and then you copy the one on the bottom. This is actually a self-check. So I never had my girls do the self-check because I felt like if they did a good job during the entire book and all their lessons, and I felt like they had it and they were ready for the test, we didn't do self-check. So self-check is basically like a pre-test, and we didn't need to do it. So then we would do the test. So that was it. And then there's a spelling list in the back of the book that you can cut out and use. So we'll do one quick look at a lesson 110 just to see how they progress. So the difference about this curriculum versus the reading lesson is they do a lot of digraphs and blends and suffixes. So they do a lot of phonics that you may not see in the other one. The other book is really just teaching you how to read. This one, if you want a lot of phonics, this is very heavy on phonics. Digraphs. It teaches all these things, which I just think is great. So then they've got stories in here that they're going to read. And then they have reading comprehension, which is really cool. So they read that story to you, and then they have to circle the answer that goes with that at the end. So they've got consonant blends. Yeah, it's really good. It's really thorough. It's inexpensive. Here's compound words that they go over. So it just depends on what you're looking for. There was, I actually did, it depends on your child too and what they need, but I did half of the reading lesson last year with my daughter when she was 6. No, when she was 5. I think when she was 5 I did half of the reading lesson, and then we moved into this when she turned 6. So you can actually use both, and that's kind of what I did. That was like the beginning, and we didn't actually finish the whole book, and then we moved into this. So it just depends on where your child is at. Hopefully this gives you a good look at what it is. Some of these, dots. The way they write these, I don't know what that's called, but that's part of phonics that I did not learn. I didn't know what an O with a dot on top of it meant. You might. I didn't know that. They do that, which is helpful with dictionary skills and things like that. So this is where they get at the end of the year. They do a timed word box, so they'll read it. I actually never timed it. I would just have her read all the way down. But you're supposed to just time them to have them keep going. But the nice thing is you can do this however you want it to be done. And then we've got a test at the end. There's dot to dot pictures. So see, their spelling words there's a lot more words and they're a lot smaller on the page. So that is the rest of the learning to read. I'll show you real quick these 4 little books. The nice thing is these are such good, sweet stories. This is a Mennonite curriculum. We're Christian. It didn't ever bother me. You know, the girls are always wearing dresses and the moms have head coverings, but there's Bible stories. They're just good, sweet stories, really pretty pictures. So these, they'll just read, it tells you in there. So this is the beginning one. Really, really easy to start off, but beautiful pictures. I just love these. See, there's mom there, and that never bothered us. The dads are always wearing dress shirts. But just beautiful drawings, and so they just move on. Here's book 2, where they've got, sometimes they're throwing in a picture to go with the word that they haven't learned how to say yet. So these are books that'll be throughout the curriculum. It'll tell you, pull out, we learn and read a note for Miss Esch and read that to mom, or something like that. That's how it works. And so you'll be reading that. I think there's one every day. So the stories just get longer. Still got really nice pictures. They've got good values about doing what's right, and Bible verses, as you can see on the front. And here's the final book. So see, much longer stories. But a good, solid curriculum. We loved it. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that peek into both of those curriculum are helpful. And I just would highly recommend both of them, either of them, whatever works for you guys. They're both affordable, easy to use, and just good, solid curriculum if you don't know where to start when it comes to how to teach your child to read. I would be very confident in saying you could be successful with either of those. So I hope that helps you guys, and thanks for joining me, and I will see you next time.